Welcome to this video tutorial for uStat Tennis. In this tutorial, we'll be covering recording stats for both singles and doubles matches. Let's go ahead and get started and open the app and switch over to the record area. This is where all your stats recording will take place and also where you can view the history of your previously recorded matches. For the purposes of this tutorial, we'll just use one of the sample players that comes with the app. We'll use Susan Serve. Notice that you can switch between singles players and doubles teams depending on what type of match you want to record. We'll record a match for Susan Serve. This is the history of all of the matches that have been recorded for Susan Serve. This isn't where you go to analyze the stats. That would be in the analyze area. This is strictly where you see a history of your matches and results. You can go back and edit match information and so forth if you need to after the fact by selecting the match in this list. But to start a new match, just tap the plus button. And here we have a screen where we can enter a couple required fields and then several optional fields. The only thing you have to enter on this screen is the number of sets for the match. One set, best of 3 or best of 5. And the court surface type, grass, clay, or a number of hard court options. This affects the display. You ideally want the court to look like what you're actually sitting in front of taking stats. It does help a little bit for recording stats. And it's also used for analyzing by surface type later on if you have the pro version of the app. Both the sets and surface can have default values set in the settings area. In the list of optional items, we have several fields that can be used later for analyzing your stats. If you have the pro version of the app, you can analyze by opponent, by season, by tournament, and so forth. And this is where you attach the match to those items. So if I want to say this is part of the 2012 season, I can do it like that. Let's say this match is part of the Racket Best tournament, and so on. Let's create a new opponent. Let's say they're just called The Other Player is their name. And I just save that and select them, and now the opponent is named Other Player. So when you're done on the screen, just tap Start. Now I'm to the set screen. You'll see this at the start of each set. Here you just verify the side of the court and the first server. For the first set, you need to choose those items. For subsequent sets, they'll automatically be determined based on the normal side changing and service rotation rules. You can also just choose the tiebreaker format for the set. We have both 12-point and Komen formats, or no tiebreaker. Default value for that can be set in settings as well. When you're done on this screen, just tap Start. And then we're into the actual stat recording interface. At the top of the screen, or if you're in portrait view, it would be on the left of the screen, is the scoreboard area. You can see the game scores here, which I can manually edit if need be. Normally they'll automatically advance as point scoring events take place, but you can manually edit them if you wanted to or needed to. And the set scores, likewise, you can manually edit those if necessary, but again, they'll normally automatically advance as the score advances. You see over to the right there's a match clock that shows your elapsed time. And next to it is an Analyze button, which you can use to view real-time stats during the match. This is the same as the summary report from the Analyze area, except that you can view it right here in the recording interface without having to leave this screen at all. You can, though, view the full list of stats in real time during the match by switching over to the Analyze area. This is just a quick overview. And note that real-time stats is part of the pro version of the app. If I do need to leave this recording interface during the match, I just tap pause, and then I could, for instance, switch over to the Analyze area and notice the current match item, which is where I would go to view the full list of real-time stats if I wanted to. While I'm paused, I can tap the stop button here, and I can choose to stop the set that I'm currently in or stop the entire match. If you stop in this way, you're completely canceling the match and deleting any information that you, any data that you have had saved up to that point. To get back into the recording interface, just tap resume. Now, if you need to end the current set early, but don't want to completely cancel it, you want to actually save the stats that you've recorded to that point, you can, you can just tap and hold down on the pause button, and you'll get an end set option. On the far left, you have what we call the court editor. This allows you to edit a few attributes about the court. If you tap the long arrow, you can change the side of the court that the players are currently on. So if I tap OK, you can see that Susan Service switched to the other side of the court. The shorter area changes the service court. You can see the effect that has. The little yellow ball in the court editor shows you the current side and service court. Now, normally those will automatically change during the course of the match, and normally you'll never have to change those. But if for some reason you get out of sync with the actual match, then you can override them here. If I tap in the court editor anywhere other than on one of the arrows, I can switch the court surface dynamically at any time during the match. And you get the idea. So those are our various court options. Let's go back to the blue court. The areas below the court editor and matching on the other side are the player profile areas. You'll see the player, their picture if you've specified one, their name, and so forth. Switch back to the other side here. Below the scoreboard area, you'll see the status bar that shows the most recent stat event at all times. So in this case, we just manually change sides, and you see that reflected there in the status bar. The undo button to the left of the scoreboard area will always undo the most recent stat event, the one that you see displayed in the status bar. So if I tap undo, I just undid that event. If you tap and hold down on the undo button, you get undo rally, which will undo all of the events from the current point. So if you needed to replay an entire rally, you can do it in that way. Undo back to the beginning here. Okay, also in the scoreboard area, if you tap on the possession arrow, you can manually change the server. That works for both singles player or singles matches, and also for doubles matches. In the case of doubles matches, you can change the server to the other side of the net or to the other player on your team.